Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you to our Bhagavad Gita class. Today we'll start chapter 3. And let me recap. The objective of this class is to enable reading of the shlok, to understand the meaning of the shlok, and to help understand the basic philosophy of Gita. So we are going to start Karma Yoga, chapter 3. And just to give a short summary what we are going to talk about, Shlok 1 and 2 talks about Arjun's confusion, and he's confused whether he should renounce or act. And then from 3.3 to 3.9, it talks about Nishkam Kar Yoga is better for Arjun. That's what Krishna will conclude with. From Shlok number 10 to 16, it talks about from Karmkand to Karma Yoga, the journey. And then from 17 to 35, Krishna will talk about Nishkam Karma Yoga. And from 36 to 43, he'll be talking about conquering lust, which is the greatest enemy. And then we'll end this thing by the glories of chapter 3 from Padma Puran. What we have done till now, we have completed chapter 2 last time. And what we did was we saw that Arjun's indecision, then we saw Arjun accepting Krishna as his guru. Then we talked about Gyan and Sankhya Yoga. We talked about Sakam Karma Yoga. We talked about Nishkam Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. And then we talked about Sthit Pragya, what is the qualities of a liberated soul. And last time we talked about the story from Padma Puran chapter 2. Yeah. So now let's go to Arjun's confusion, which is renunciation or action, Shlok 3.1 and 3.2. Arjuna Vacha Jayasi Cheta Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojasi Keshava. Arjuna Vacha Jayasi Cheta Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojasi Keshava. Mataji.
Arjuna
Vacha
Jayasi Cheta Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tatkim Karmani Ghore Mam
Niyojasi Keshava. So here, let's look at the important words. Jayasi. Jayasi means better. Chet karmanaste. Karm is better. Mata buddhi. Buddhi is buddhi yoga, intelligence. Janardana. Janardana is Krishna. O Janardan, tat kim. Then why? Karmani ghore mam. Ghore is the ghastly work. Mam, to me. Niyojasi. Niyojasi is engage. And Keshava. O Keshav. Yeah. So let's read the meaning. Arjun said, O Janardan, O Keshav, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work. Okay. So now let us go back to with the condition of Arjun. So we saw in the chapter 2, Shlok 6, Arjun said, I'm totally confused. I am totally confused. And I don't know what is right and what is, whether I should win or whether I should conquer or get conquered. I don't know. And then what he did? He surrendered himself to Krishna, right? And before that, he was looking at his people. He said, it's better, inaction is better. I will better go and go to forest than fighting. So that was in the mood that Arjun was. And then Krishna told him chapter 2. After that, Krishna told a lot of things in chapter 2. And in the 49th shlok of chapter 2, Krishna told, Durena hayavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. Yeah. So first, when 47, he talked about karmaniya vadika raste, and then he talked about durena hayavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjay. Dhananjay is Arjun. Oh Arjun, durena means keep away. What? Hayavaram karma means abominable activities. You have to keep away the abominable activities. How? By buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga is by your intelligence. By your intelligence. This is what Krishna told in 49. Yeah. And then when he talked about Sthit Pragya, talked about the liberated soul, he talked about peace. How can we get peace? And he talked about for peace, what you need to do? Desirelessness, and then, nispriha, nirmamo, nirankara, no ego, and you have to be, should not have any sense of pride. That's how you can get peace, and then you can get happiness. So now, what Arjun is thinking is, Krishna is asking him to use intelligence. Yeah. And for him, his karma, his prescribed duty is to fight. His prescribed duty is, his karma is to fight. But he's asking him, Jayasi chet karmaneste mata buddhi janada. What you're saying that buddhi, intelligence is better than, is higher. Jayasi is better than karma. If intelligence is better than karma, then, and he's understanding intelligence as buddhi yoga, he's thinking intelligence is renouncing the work. So if you're asking me, when you are saying that intelligence is better, if buddhi yoga is better, then why do you want me to enter into this war? Yeah. He's still in the mood of for himself. He's always thinking about himself. That if you are thinking, if you say your mata, Jayasi chet karmaste mata buddhir janardana. Oh Janardan, your mat, your decision is that buddhi is better than karma. Then why are you asking that kim karmani ghore mam? Then why you are ghore mam? You are asking me to enter neojasi, is to get engaged in what? This ghastly warfare. Yeah. So he's continuing his confusion and asking, right? So he was thinking that it is better by buddhi yoga. Is thinking intelligence means I should renounce, I should not enter into this karma of killing. That is how in the mood Arjun is, and this is the question he has asked Krishna. We are clear? Yes. So now let's go to the next slok. Vyami shreneva vakyena buddhidam mohya siva me tadekam vad nischitya yena shreyo aham apnuyam vyamisheneva vakyena buddhidam mohya siva me tadekam vad nischitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. Now let's read the important words. Vyamishen means equivocal. Vyamishen means equivocal. Vakyen means words. Yeah. Buddhidam mohya siv. Mohya siv means bewildered. I'm getting bewildered. Means I'm getting bewildered. Yeah. Tad ekam. That's why ekam means ek. Vad means tell. Nischitya, for sure. Yena shreya aham. For me, what is shreyas? What is better? Yeah. What is better? What is more beneficial for me? Till now, you will what he's saying is you have told a lot of things. Yeah. And everything is equivocal. You're telling everything, and that is bewildering me. Yeah. So now tell me for sure. Tell me for sure, Nischityam, what should I do? Whether I should, renounce or I should do my duty. Yeah, this is what he's saying. Let's read so I would request Adaji.
Vyami sheneva vakyena.
Vyami sheneva vakyena.
Yesiva me.
Buddhim mohya siva me.
Tadekam vad nischitya.
Tadekam vad nischitya.
Yena shreyo upama priya.
Shmena shreyo hama punenam. Yeah, so now let's read the English meaning. My intelligence is bewildered.
My intelligence is bewildered
By your equivocal instructions.
by your equivocal instructions.
Therefore,
Therefore,
please tell me decisively
please tell me decisively
which will be most beneficial for me.
which will be most beneficial for me.
Yeah. So in chapter 2, Krishna has talked about lot of paths. After Arjun surrendered, Krishna started with Karm Kand. He said you have to do your duty, and you whatever happens, whether you will get Swarga if you die, otherwise you will earn the entire worldly this thing, right? That's what he said in the Karm Kand. And then he talked about Nishkam Karm, and he talked about Karmaniya Vadika Rasti. You have to do your duty, but with detachment and not expecting because you are not the cause of the result, right? So this is what and inaction, there's no place for inaction. You can't go for inaction. So that's what he talked about in Nishkam Karma Yoga, right? Then before that he talked about Gyan Yoga. In Gyan Yoga he talked about your activities, like what is body, what is soul. He gave all those explanation to Arjun, and then he talked about liberated soul. So 4 different things he has told, and now all has been told. So now Arjun says, you have told me so many things. Now tell me for sure, what should I do? Should I do a Gyan Yoga or Karma Yoga? What should I do? Yeah, so that's what is confusion. So now we go to the next. So this is the question. First and second shlok talks about the question that Arjun asks. Now, Krishna from 3.3 to 3.9, Krishna will explain to Arjun, and finally he will conclude that Nishkam Karma Yoga is better for Arjun than Gyan Yoga. Yeah, so let's read the third shlok. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Loke asmin dvidha nishtha.
Loke asmin vidya nishta.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Loke asmin dvidha nishtha.
Loke asmin vidya nishta.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Yeah, Mataji.
Lokasmin dvividha nishta.
Loke asmin dvidha nishtha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Pura prokta maya nagha.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Jnana yogena sankhyanam.
Karma yogena yoginam.
Karma yogena yoginam. So, Loke asmin. In this world, Loke is in this world. Asmin is this. Dvividha nishtha. Nishtha is, there are 2 faiths. There are 2 varieties of faith. Pura prokta maya anagha. Anagha means sinless ones. Anagha means someone who is sinless. So pura prokta maya anagha. I have already spoken. Pura prokta means I have already spoken about that previously, right? Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Karma yogena yogina. So he's talking about 2 faiths now. He's taking that I've already talked about this in my previous to you about 2 things, 2 faiths, 2 nishtha, dvividha. Dvividha is 2. What? One is Jnana yogena sankhyanam and karma yogena yogina. So let's read the meaning of it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
O sinless Arjun,
O sinless Arjun,
I have already explained
I have already explained
that there are 2 classes of men
that there are 2 classes of men
who try to realize the self.
who try to realize the self.
Some are inclined to understand it
Some are inclined to understand it
by empirical philosophical speculation,
by empirical philosophical speculation
and others by devotional service.
and others by devotional service.
Okay, so again, what Krishna is saying now to clarify to Arjun's question that he has asked. So in the shlok 1 and 2, Arjun has asked question saying that what should I do? Whether I should work, whether I should work or I should renounce. Yeah, he's confused after listing all the chapter 2 information that has been given to Arjun, and then Bhagwan starts talking about what is the right thing to do. So he says Anagha, he addresses Arjun as Anagha, sinless one. Yeah. Now the knowledge that we are reading, the Jnana Yoga, the Karma Yoga, the knowledge that we are reading now from Gita, they are transcendental knowledge. Yeah. And everyone does not have the capability to understand it. Yeah. even to reach at that stage when we are sitting and reading Gita, it means that we are already purified, at that level that you can sit and understand. Otherwise, everyone wants to go and enjoy the material pleasure. No one wants to come and listen, right? Yeah. So sinless. So he's saying that this knowledge. So he's talking about now two faiths. He says there are two faiths. One is Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. Gyan means knowledge. Gyan means knowledge. And Sankhya means analysis, right? Analysis of what? Body and soul, matter and spirit. That is what is Sankhya Yoga. Yeah. And always yoga means connecting to God. Whenever we use the word yoga, it means connection to God. And when you say Jnana Yogena Sankhyana means analytical knowledge about body and soul. Analytical knowledge about body and soul is Jnana Yogena Sankhyana, right? And the second part is Karma Yogena Yoginam. Karma, when you say karma means work. Karma means calm. Now, calm can be action, it could be reaction, it could be fruitive action. But when you say karma yogena, as soon as yoga comes into picture, it means it gets connected to Krishna. It gets connected. So karma yogena yoginam. That in second chapter we saw it was equivalent to buddhi yoga. Karma yoga and buddhi yoga was the alternative word that was being used. So he says there are two methods. Now, Arjun thought that these two, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, they are two different paths. He's thinking there are two different paths to take. Someone can take Karma Yoga, someone can take Jnana Yoga. So which one should I take? Yeah. But then actually this Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, they're like a ladder. It is a yoga ladder. It is a yoga ladder. And in the ladder we have rungs. We have rung. Similarly, the lowermost is Karma Yoga. Then is the Jnana Yoga. Then is the Dhyan Yoga. Then is the Bhakti Yoga. So it increases. So what Krishna is saying is that they're not two different paths, which is like, you can either take this path or that path, right? The thing is, you have to do, the thing is you have to start with Karma Yoga. When you have nothing, when we are sinless, when we are starting our life and we don't know what the thing. So what we do, we start with the Karma Yoga. We should do our prescribed duty honestly, keeping Krishna in the center of our life. That is the way we do. And when we do that, what happens? We start getting purified. We start getting purified, right? And what happens is when you keep on doing that, initially when you are doing the karma, all of us, when you start the work, we are attached to the results. We are attached to the results because we don't know. We don't have knowledge. We don't have knowledge. So by default, everyone starts their life with doing work and getting attached to the fruitive results for that. Right? But then when you acquire knowledge about Krishna, when you start reading your scriptures and get knowledge, then what happens? Then you know that you have to do your work, but with detachment. That is the knowledge you start getting. That's a knowledge you start acquiring, getting when you start progressing. And then when it's like, it's like a band. So you think about a ladder. It has one rung and the second rung, and there's a space in between, right? There's a space in between, isn't it? So when you start your initial stage, when you are at Karma Yoga and you're attached to the fruitive results, and then you move forward, and the way when you start maturing towards that, finally there'll be a stage when you are actually doing a Nishkam Karma Yoga, when you are totally detached to the results of the activity. Yeah. So it means you are reaching the second rung. So that stage of Nishkam Karma Yoga can be equated to Jnana Yoga. Now you have gained that knowledge. You have gained that knowledge, and you have actually practiced the detachment. You have practiced the detachment. You have got the knowledge. Got it? And that's how you purify and you move forward. Understood? Think about a medical student. Now, a medical student, they have to do a 5 years course, 5.5 years course before they get an MBBS degree. But when they enter into the first year, they are called doctors. But are they doctor? No. They are nascent. Similarly, so when we start doing our spiritual practice, we are nascent. We start gaining knowledge. Yeah, basic knowledge we start gaining. Yeah. And then what happens is slowly we Just like, the MBBS doctor, the more they cross their years, then they actually get the MBBS degree. Yeah. But are they really qualified to start working on their own? Yeah. So they to really become a great doctor, you have to do MD, then you have to do specialization, then you have to do super specialization. So that is how you grow. So similarly, in the mark of in our spiritual journey also, we slowly grow. Got it? So this is what is the yoga ladder that Krishna talked about, the two paths and how we grow. Yeah. So let's read again the English meaning. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said,
O sinless Arjun,
O sinless Arjuna,
I have already explained that there are two classes of men
I have already explained that there are two classes of men
who try to realize the self.
who try to realize themselves.
Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation,
Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophy,
and others by devotional service.
and others by devotional service.
Yeah, so now we go to the next sloka, 3.4. Na karmana nararambha anarambhan naishkarma purushoshnute na cha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhi gacchati na karmanam anarambhan naishkarmyam purushoshnute na cha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Yeah. So
Na karmana manarambha.
na karmana nararambha
Naishkarmyam purushoshrute.
naishkarmyam purushoshnute
Sannyasana deva.
na cha sannyasana deva
Samadhi gacchati.
siddhim samadhi gacchati. So now let's read that. No is nahi, no. Karmana is your work. Yeah. And anarambha. Arambha is starting. And anarambha is not starting. Yeah. Anarambha is not starting. Naishkarmya. Naishkarmya means, again, nishkarma means no work. Yeah. No action. Nishkarma is no action. Purushoshnute. Amen. Na cha sannyasa deva. Sannyas, what is sannyas? Sannyas is sannyasi, right? So sannyasa deva siddhim samadhi gacchati. You can attain perfection. Yeah. So now let's read the meaning of it. Not by merely abstaining from work
Not by merely abstaining from work
can one achieve freedom
can one achieve freedom
from reaction.
from reaction.
Not by renunciation alone
Not by renunciation alone
can one attain perfection.
can one attain perfection.
So now Krishna is saying, because what Arjun's mind was in the first chapter that he was talking to Krishna, he said, what did he say? He said, I will not fight. And if I will not fight, I will not get any reaction. So he was going towards inaction. He thought that if I don't do any action, if I renounce, what will happen? I will not get any sins. I will not get any sin. I will not, right? That is the thought he is in. So Krishna says, na karmana arambha, means if you abstain from work, don't think that by abstaining from work, you will get freedom from reaction. So by inaction, if you think that, okay, I'll not work, because if I do some work activity, I will get a reaction. So best I will not do anything. That's a very simple way we can think, right? Yeah. If I do something, I will get action, I'll get reaction. So best I won't do anything. And by not doing anything, then good, then I'll not get any reaction. So what did Krishna says in Karmani, like I say, you don't have choice for inaction, because inaction itself is an action. Inaction itself is an action. You are supposed to act, but you have not acted. That itself is a sin. That itself is a sin, right? So he says, na karmana narambha. Without, if you think by merely by abstaining from work, neshkarmya, you will get, you'll be free, you'll get freedom from reaction. No. Na cha sannyasana deva. Neither by renunciation alone. Siddhim. Siddhim is perfection. And samadhi gacchati is attain. Even by sannyas, if you think, okay, I'll renounce it and I'll get it. Sorry, that doesn't happen. Yeah. So, sannyas, the word sannyas, we know that sannyas is an order. It's an order. Yeah. And sannyas could also mean that you are as a grihastha, it's a mental renunciation. You may be in any state, not necessary that you have actually taken the sannyas order. It's not necessary. You may have matured in your devotional service in such a way that you have actually renounced things. So outwardly, when someone sees you, they will not know in what state you are, right? So he is saying by merely renouncing, yeah, it doesn't. You're not going to get perfection. So here, Krishna says that if you prematurely attain, renunciation, or you go to the sannyas order, what happens? Your senses are not purified. Your senses are not purified. Your mind is not controlled. So what will happen? You're just outwardly showing that you have renounced, but inwardly you are actually not. And then what will happen? You will do things which you should not do, hiding, and you'll get more sins. You'll get more sins. So he says, no, the right thing is do your prescribed duty. In Sanatana Dharma, we have Varna and Ashram system. We have Varnashram system. We have ashram, we have brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas. The order has been so nicely done that if you follow your prescribed duty in whichever varna you are, yeah, that is whether you are a, varna is based on your activity, whether you are a Brahmin, you are a Kshatriya, you are a Vaishya or a Shudra, whichever varna you are, if you are doing your prescribed duty properly, that is much, much better. And you will not attain sin, rather you will slowly grow, gradually you'll go up in your spiritual journey, because that's how our system Varnashram system has been defined. Than merely, from a brahmacharya directly going to sannyas order, because you have not actually matured enough, your senses have not matured enough, and you are not going to get any perfection, you're not going to get any freedom, right? So it is better. So by doing your prescribed duty properly, whatever prescribed duty you are, what will happen? You are going to purify your senses. You are going to purify your senses. Did anyone read this shlok? You read, right? Yeah. We go to the fifth one. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishthatya karma krit कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्व प्रकृतिर्जैर्गुणः न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्व प्रकृतिर्जैर्गुणः प्रभु
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्व प्रकृतिर्जैर्गुणः.
Now Krishna says here, nahi kaschit kshanamapi. Kshan is minute, moment. Kaschit means even for a minute. Even for a minute. Api is bhi. Even for a minute. Jatu is any time. Tishthatya karmakrit. The soul cannot live without doing any activity. Even for a single minute. Why? Because soul is always active. Karyate hevashah karma sarva Prakriti Jayaguni. Why it is so? Because everyone is influenced by Prakriti Jayaguni, by the modes of material nature. We all are So what we talked about, that soul as such is pure. But because of the journey that we are taking, our soul, our karma, based on that, we get, as soon as we are born in the material world, our soul gets conditioned by the modes of material nature based on the karma and desires. Yeah, that's how we get into that mode. Yeah, it could be a mode of goodness, it could be a mode of passion, it could be a mode of ignorance. Yeah, by default, that's how we become, or it could be a combination of all. Yeah, that's how we'll become. So now the soul is something which is eternally active, and the day soul is not active, what will happen? It's dead. We are dead. The day soul is not active, what happens? We are dead. So not even for a moment it is possible for the soul to not do any activity. Yeah, because we all are influenced by the mode of material nature. Now let's read the meaning. Everyone is forced to act.
Everyone is supposed to act
Helplessly
helplessly
according to the qualities he has acquired
according to the qualities he has acquired
from the modes of material nature.
from the modes of material nature.
Therefore,
Therefore,
no one can refrain
no one can refrain
from doing something,
from doing something,
not even for a moment.
not even for a moment.
Now, before that, Arjun talked about renunciation, sannyas. Now, Arjun is still in the material mode. He's still in the in this mode of ignorance and passion, and he's talking about renunciation. So what will happen? He, not even for a moment, he can actually, you can for some time you will try to act that you are a sannyasi and you have given up everything. But what will happen? Your internal mode that you have, that will not let you do the sannyasi work, because your senses are not purified, they are not matured, they have not yet have entered the renunciation mode, they have not yet matured to get things renounced. Right? They're still not mature. So what will happen? You will go back to your normal mode, although you are outwardly trying to show yourself as a sannyasi, and you are running away. So what you are becoming? You are actually running away from your prescribed duty. What are you then? So there's what I call the term as bhagoda. They are pretenders. They are like, you're not really you're running away from your prescribed, from your duty. Yeah. And that is not sannyasi. That is not the right way of living. So you have to do your prescribed duty. You have to mature yourself slowly so that you come into Nishkam Karma Yoga, go into Gyan Yoga, and you can do by following your prescribed duty. That is what Krishna is talking about in this chapter, right? Now we go to the next slok. Yeah. Karmendriyani sanyamya ya asate manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma मिथ्याचार स उच्यते कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आसते मनसा स्मरन् इंद्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचार स उच्यते. Now here Krishna says, yeah, Mataji. Karmendriyani sanyamya ya asate manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma Mityachara sa uchyate. Now, Krishna talks about karmendriya. So we have Gyanendriya and Karmendriya. What are our Karmendriyas? Hand, legs, our mouth, which is used for speaking, our genitals, anus. They are the 5 Karmendriya, which are used for doing work, right? So, Karmendriyani sanyamya. You have all the karmendriya you have controlled. Sanyam means control. You're outwardly controlling all your sense karmendriyas, right? But what you are doing? Manasa smaran indriyartha. What is indriyartha? Sense objects. And mansa is your mind. Smaran is thinking. So what is your mind doing? Although outwardly you have controlled all your hands, legs, and all your voice, you are controlled that I'm becoming, I'm a sadhu. Yeah, I'm a sannyasi. But what is your mind doing? Your mind is actually thinking about the sense objects. It is getting attracted towards the sense objects. So what happens? Vimurhatma Sandhyatam, Vimurhatma mithyachara sauchate. So what does Krishna says? Who are they? They are mithyachar, they are pretenders. They are basically the pretenders. So let's read the meaning. One who restrains the sense of action,
One who restrains the sense of action,
but whose mind dwells on sense objects,
but whose mind dwells on sense objects,
certainly deludes himself
certainly deludes himself,
and is called a pretender.
and is called a pretender.
So, who is a pretender? Outwardly, he is dressed and behaving, showing that he is a sannyasi. Dhongi Baba. And mostly you find that you they have taken the robes of sannyasi, but actually in the mind, their minds, they don't have any sense control. They are actually in the mind thinking about the sense objects. So what will happen? What are they? They are the pretenders. But remember one thing. Spiritual life is a journey, right? None of us are perfect. You agree? None of us are perfect. Once we get knowledge, once we get into into this satsang, when we start getting knowledge, right? So what happens when we start getting knowledge? We can actually in a journey, and then we can, you cannot become from zero to from rug 1 to rug 2 immediately. There's a journey, 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. So if you're honestly trying hard in this journey, in your spiritual journey, if you're a sadhak, who is a sadhak? Who is actually doing devotional service, who is chanting and honestly wants to grow spiritually. He or she is a sadhak, right? If you're a sadhak, yeah, because you have started coming into this satsang, doesn't mean overnight you will change. It is not possible. What will happen? You are trying to control your senses. You are trying to change yourself. Change cannot happen overnight. If you are trying to change yourself honestly, then you are not a pretender. You are not a pretender. Someone who is showing outwardly to do things, but inwardly is still contemplating on sense object and does not want to change is a pretender. But someone who is in a spiritual journey, trying to change, trying to control senses, is not a pretender. He's a sadhak. He's a sadhak. He's in the spiritual journey, and it takes time. It takes years. It takes time. Yeah. So, and that case, you cannot consider what did I do? No. You have to understand you are in a journey, and in the journey, one day you will mature. One day you will mature, right? So now we go to the next slok. Yasva indriyani manasa niyamyarabhate arjuna karmendriya karma yoga asakta sa vishishyate yasva indriyani manasa niyamyarabhate arjuna karmendriya karma yoga asakta sa vishishyate. So let's read the meaning. On the other hand, if a sincere person
If a sincere person
tries to control the active senses
tries to control the actions
by the mind
by
and begins karma yoga
and begins karma yoga
without attachment,
without attachment,
he is by far superior.
he is by far superior.
So Krishna says, don't try to be mithyachar, don't try to be pretender, rather do your prescribed duty and karmendriya karma yogam asakta. Involve your karmendriya for karma yoga. Karma yoga means do the work with attachment to God and slowly get asakt with detachment. And that is Vishishata is much superior, At the same time, yes, the Indriyana Manasa, who is trying to control his Indriya and Mansa, Niyama Arjuna, that person who is trying to control his senses and mind and is involving all his karmendriya in karma yoga is by far much superior, right? So what we'll do is we will actually with this we'll close today's class. And today what we do, as we talked about Radha Ashtami, we will quickly go and so do a small celebration on Radha Ashtami. So I will again take, you can repeat the shlok. So I'm going to take chapter 9, last shlok, 34th shlok. So with this, the Gita, the regular Gita class of our third chapter Karma Yoga, we are finishing in 7th one. Now we'll look at Radha Ashtami. So yesterday was Radha Ashtami, and I will just give a small thing about Radha. So it's chapter 9, shlok number 34. Chapter 9, shlok number 34. Yeah. Yeah. Chapter 9, shlok number 34. So first of all, happy belated Radha Ashtami to all of us. Yeah. And let us take the shlok 34, 9th chapter. It says, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishasi yuktvetma atmanam matparayanam manmana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishasi yuktvevam atmanam matparayanah. So Krishna says, Manmana. Manmana means engage your mind. Manmana is keep on thinking about me. Bhav mad bhakto. Be my bhakt, be my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru. Or pay obeisance to me. Mamai vaishyasi. And by completely absorbed in me, yuktetvam. And when you are completely absorbed in me, what will happen? You will matparayana, you will achieve me. This is what Krishna says. Now, I wanted to take this shlok and especially wanted to talk about Manmana with respect to Radhaji today, right? So, when we read Gita Mahatmya, right? So, which is written by Adi Shankaracharya, he said that what is Bhagavad Gita? It's the essence of all our scriptures. All our scriptures, the ras of all our scriptures is Bhagavad Gita, right? That is the essence of all our scriptures is Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. And the essence of this 18 chapters is the middle 6th chapter, which is from 7th to 12th. 7th to 12th is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, essence of those 6 chapters is chapter number 9, which is the 9th chapter, which is the most confidential knowledge, right? And essence of that chapter is this shlok, which is the last shlok of 9th chapter. Yeah. So what this shlok is actually the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence. So this is the most important shlok of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Now here, Krishna, what is Krishna doing in this shlok? He's saying that he's talking about, he's giving a very confidential knowledge. How can you become my devotee? Yeah. And he talks about 4 things. Manmana, keep on thinking about me. Mad bhakto, be my devotee, or worship me, or pay obeisance to me. And these 4 points are 4 different levels of bhakti. They are 4 different levels of bhakti. So the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita is about bhakti yoga. Is about bhakti yoga. And the essence of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti. Yeah. We are talking about now karma yoga, jnana yoga, then we'll talk about dhyan yoga, and then it starts from bhakti yoga. And the essence of Bhagavad Gita is devotional service. That is bhakti yoga, right? And here he talks about the 4 confidential way how you can get attached to him, right? Keep on thinking about me. If not, become my devotee. If you can't do that, then worship me. If you can't even do that, then pay obeisance to me. But do something if you want to become free. Hai na? That's what Krishna. And these 4, as I mentioned, is the 4 levels of bhakti. Now, think about the word manmana. Manmana is engage your mind, always thinking of me. Can you imagine? Is it possible for anyone to keep on always thinking about Krishna?
No.
Huh? Even for a 1-hour class, I don't know where all our mind goes. Right? And imagine a state when you're always thinking of Krishna. Is it ever possible? Think.
You have to be madly in love with Krishna.
Even then, 24/7, 360 days.
Right? Yeah. So even when we are doing 1 round of chanting, which is 7 minutes, our mind keeps on going here and there, right? And Krishna says, always keep on thinking about me. Yeah. So our senses, it keeps on moving here and there. Even for 2 minutes, we can't keep it constant. But this is an example of the Vrajvasi, the people of Vrindavan. Yeah. In the Vrindavan, everything is Radhe Radhe. You go to Vrindavan, if they want to say you B-side, they say Radhe Radhe. They want to say stop, say Radhe Radhe. Everyone is
Ramakrishna Hari.
Yeah, so everything for them is Radhe Radhe. If they want to talk to you, you don't want to know what's your name, Radhe Radhe. So that is the way. So with the gopis of Vrindavan, now let's go back to the Krishna's time. The gopis of Vrindavan, they are always thinking about Krishna. Whether they are whether they are talking, whether they are eating, whether they are doing anything, their talks are always of Krishna. Their life, they're fighting also for Krishna, they're talking about Krishna, they're dressing for Krishna, everything is for Krishna. When Krishna is playing the flute, they are not even knowing what they're wearing. They'll put clothes here and there and they will go and run to Krishna. Yeah. In their life, there's nothing but Krishna. They cannot think anything but Krishna. Rather, in Bhagavatam, one of the gopis says, "Oh Brahma, what? You don't even know how to create. What sort of creator you are? You don't even know how to create. You have created this eyelid which actually closes, and for that nimish we are not able to see Krishna." Yeah. So he says, what a creator you are. You don't even know how to create, because of you we are not that nimish, when our eyelids are closing, we are missing to see Krishna. Right? So that is the love of the gopis of Krishna. That is beyond anything. Yeah, that is the love of gopis of Krishna. So imagine when we can't even think 5 minutes for Krishna, how great the gopis of Krishna were there when Manmana Bhavat Bhakta means they are the highest devotees of Krishna. Right? Now, in the bhakti, there are 9 stages of bhakti. 9 stages of bhakti. The highest is, the 9th is prema. And before that is bhav. Right? So now I'll tell you about the story about this one, the story from on Narad. So what happens now? Krishna had actually left Vrindavan, had gone to Dwarika. Yeah. And in Dwarika, both Rukmani and Satyabhama, they are doing their best to take care of Krishna. They're doing whatever best they can do to take care of Krishna. And one day, Krishna had fallen sick. And Rukmani, Satyabhama, they don't know. Everyone is trying their best to do it, but Krishna is not recovering. Then they call Narad. Please come and help. We have done whatever we could, but Krishna is not, Krishna is still sick. So Krishna says, okay, I know the solution. I need the dust of a devotee. You come and put it on my head and I'll become fine. Now Narad said, okay, if that is there. So Rukmani and Satyabhama said, Narad, why don't you do that? Narayan, 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 how can I do that? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can it, what will happen to me? I'll get all sins. So Narad said, Rukmani and Satyabhama, why don't you do that? Oh, how can I do that? He's my husband. I cannot do that. I cannot do that. How can I put my dust on his head? Sorry, I cannot do that. And now Narad, talking about whichever great devotee Narad knows, and finally he reaches Vrindavan. He says Krishna is becoming ill and he's becoming, his condition is getting spoiled day by day. So he goes to finally Vrindavan and tells, and once he reaches Vrindavan, the Gopi says, oh Narad, how come you are here? Is Krishna fine? He says, no, Krishna is very sick in Dwarika. And he says that only the way he can actually get cured is he needs the dust of the feet of the devotees. All the gopis, they took out this thing, they started taking out all the dust and started giving it to Narad. Go and please put it on his head. And Narad is totally surprised. How is it this possible? How can you do it? Won't you get sin? He said, well, I'll get sin, but he'll be fine. That is the ultimate love. When you are ready to sacrifice yourself for the happiness of other. Yeah, because the other person will be happy. You may or you may be sad, doesn't matter. That is the highest prem, highest love that can happen. Highest sacrifice, because for the person you love, you are ready to sacrifice yourself, right? That is the highest prem. And that was there by the gopis. They said, I don't care. I will fall ill. I will get sin, but Krishna will be fine. Right? So this is the highest prem or highest devotion that one can do when you are, and that's why the Vrindavan gopis are the highest in devotion. Again, once Narad had a doubt and he thought, okay, now let me check. Always Narad thinks that he's the best devotee. And when he comes to Krishna, he always he also has a doubt. Is he the best devotee or is there someone better than him? So once again, he went to Dwarika saying that, okay, let me check with Narayan, with Hari. Is there even better devotee than me? So Krishna says, why don't you find out yourself? So he said, fine. What he did was, he went to Prahlad. He says, Prahlad, I've given the thing. I think you are the best devotee that I have ever seen. Prahlad said that, no, how can I be the best devotee? Yeah, I only prayed, but I'm not the best devotee. Look at Hanuman. In his heart, he can show Ram and Sita. Look at him. You should be a devotee like Hanuman. Narad said, yeah, this is the point. There's a weight in his point. I must go to Hanuman. So he went to Hanuman. Said, Hanuman. He paid, Naradji paid his obeisance to Hanuman and said, you are the biggest devotee I have ever seen. Hanuman said, how can you say that? How can you say that I am the biggest devotee? No, that is not right. Look at the Pandavas. How lucky they are. Look at the Pandavas. Krishna stayed with them. They are a friend with them. They played with them. Krishna was always with them. Ram and Sita in my heart. But Krishna spent their life with them. How can I be a biggest devotee? You must go to Pandavas. So now Narayan said, yeah, that is right. He went to Pandavas. He went to say, I'm paying my obeisance to you. You are the biggest devotees. Pandavas said, Arjun said, how can you say that we are the biggest devotee? If we would have been the biggest devotee, would Krishna had ever left us? Krishna left us. Then how can you say that we are the biggest? We were very fortunate to spend few days with Krishna. But we cannot be the biggest devotee because we are not with Krishna. If you want to see devotee, you should go to Uddhav. So those who don't know Uddhav, Uddhav is a look-alike of Krishna. Right from childhood, he was always with Krishna. He had never missed Krishna. He was always with Krishna. And then when Krishna was leaving this, Dwapar Yuga was finishing, then Uddhav said, Krishna, I cannot live without you. I cannot live without you. Tell me, what should I do? Take me with you. He said, no, you cannot go now. You have to go to Badrinarayan. You have to go to Badrinarayan and you be there, because that is the place I never leave. So you please go there. And if you go to Badrinarayan, even today, if you go to Badrinath even today, the ideal that is worshipped, that is taken around, is Uddhav's one. Uddhav is still worshipped and Uddhav is still there in the Badrinath, because Krishna never leaves Badrinath, right? So then he says, Uddhav, go to Uddhav. There could not be a biggest devotee than Uddhav. And then he said, yeah, that is right. So Naraji went to Uddhav, Badrinath. He said, Uddhav, I want to pay my business to you. You are the biggest devotee. Uddhav said, Narad, once I had this, pride that I am the biggest devotee. And Krishna taught me the lesson. Once in Mathura, I told Krishna that there cannot be a bigger devotee than me. And he told me, okay, do one thing. Why don't you go to Vrindavan? Take this and go, and I have left Vrindavan. I have come to Mathura and it's time for me to go back to Vrindavan. I didn't get a chance. Why don't you go to Mathura, to Vrindavan? And when I went there, I actually understood what devotion is. I actually understood what devotion is, what love is. Yeah. If there is any devotee, if there's anyone who is actually a devotee of Krishna, or the highest devotee of Krishna, it is the gopis of Vrindavan. There cannot be anyone but the gopis of Vrindavan, which are the highest devotee of Krishna. And then, who is Radharani? She's the queen of the gopis. She's Vrindavaneshwari. She's the queen of the gopis. She's a Vrindavaneshwari, right? So, she's the internal potency of Krishna. And she's the Mahabhav, the love, the biggest, the prem that you can see. So she's the highest devotee of Krishna. And if you want bhakti, then what we have to do? We have to pray to Radharani. Because with Radha, if whatever Radha says to Krishna, she never refuses. So, and it is easy to please Radha than Krishna. So, Srimati Radharani is the biggest devotee of Krishna. And so, someone had asked a question, Jivraj had asked a question today in the group, as is Radharani mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? The answer is no. Radharani name is not mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. But Bhagavad Gita, the essence of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti. And the bhav, the highest bhav of bhakti is Radharani. Is the gopis, and Radharani is the queen of gopi. So a love in which there's nothing, which is selfless and filled with devotion, is that of Radharani. Yeah. So let's all say, Bolo Radharani ki. Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai, 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 Radha Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. With this, we'll close the class online virtually, and we'll continue with our bhajan here. Hare Krishna. Let's sing Hare Krishna 3 times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.